Fueled by Deathcast.
Is the other side of what you do, which I think is so interesting, everything you get to do with comedy dynamics. And I really want to know, like, do you think, I want to start it like this. Do you think that with, you know, streaming service and the myriad of ways we can consume entertainment now, do you think we're coming back to a comedy boom like we used to have in the 80s and 90s?
Can I tell you a transitionary story?
Sure.
From toys to comedy?
Exactly, yeah.
This is 2 weeks ago.
Oh, my gosh.
In this room, Marty Abrams is here.
Okay.
And Marty and I, you know, we're talking for about an hour 15. And, you know, he's doing this whole new thing with Target.
Yep.
Trying to, and it's working. From what I can tell, it's a big success. So we're talking, and he's like, he saw Sam Kinison over there, and he's like, we really want to do a new Mego figure of Sam Kinison. And I'm like, oh, well, I know the guy who runs the company. Beep, beep, beep. I introduced him on my phone. You know, he's like, well, anyone? I'm like, well, who? And he's like, well, Johnny Carson. I go, I know the guy that owns Johnny's estate. I know Johnny's nephew. And then he goes, oh, God, this made me laugh. He goes, oh, so you used to be in comedy? And I'm like, well,
used to.
That's one way. That's one way of looking at it. Some would say I'm still in it.
Yeah, I was just saying.
No, but from his point of view, he
Right.
doesn't know who I am. All
Right,
he knows
right.
is the toys thing.
Yeah.
So it just cracked me up that to some of the toys community, they're always like, dude, are you the same guy who did Ali Wong? I'm like, yeah.
It's a weird relation. You know?
It's completely weird, but a lot of people, especially when the show first came out, were so shocked with how much humor and comedy there was in toys that made us. That's why. Like, the people I hired, like, were all comedy people. But to answer your question directly, I just want to tell you that Marty's story.
It's great.
That's great.
And what was the question?
Do you
Sorry,
think
I'm
we're
rambling.
coming back to a comedy boom?
I don't think we're coming back to a comedy boom. I think that the whole situation has changed. And I'll give you a great example of this.
All right.
And this also, swear to God, just happened 2 weeks ago. Not in this room. But this happened 2 weeks ago. I was at a party with the friends of like all the kids. So my kids are in a school. I don't go to these very often. That's why it's kind of hard for me to describe. But we're at a house, and it's all parents of the children. There's no children, though. All the children are in bed.
Right.
And there were there was a parent, husband and wife couple that I've known for about 3 years now. And I hope if you see this, you're not offended. I mean, this is a compliment. But they're very sophisticated, very... no, I'm not trying to imply I'm not upper class, but or upper crust. But to me, these are very upper crust, prim and proper, like, you know, drive great car, like very fancy fancy people. And we're sitting there at the party. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning, and one of them's like, blah 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 blah, Tig Notaro, blah blah. And I'm like, you know Tig Notaro? She's like, yeah, I love Tig Notaro. I go, oh, well, who else is? She's like, Maria Bamford. Like, and she starts going to. And I'm like, let me ask you something. How long have you been into stand-up comedy? And they're like, about a year and a half. And that's why this is not like another boom or...
Interesting.
Everything has changed. It's like, and the way I look at it is, like, 50 years ago or so, like, horror movies were a part of drama.
Yeah.
And then one day there was like enough horror movies. Maybe it was The Shining. I don't know what it was. But some horror movie finally had the newspapers and everybody and the public being like, no, horror films are their own thing.
Their own thing, right.
And that is what's happened with stand-up. So for 50 years or so, going back to Carlin and Lenny Bruce and everybody, stand-up was this kind of, it was kind of like the farm team fringe of comedy. In that, like, when I was growing up, I kind of understood that Roseanne did this speaking thing, like, when she wasn't doing Roseanne, or Bill Cosby had, like, done album, like, but it didn't mean anything to me. Like, I never went to stand-up as a kid. I never watched stand-up as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, we only had one album, which was Cosby.
Yeah.
Right.
So, now, and the example I always give, and, I mean... I don't have this as like a fact, but I guarantee you this is an accurate example of what's happened. My high school, when I was little, let's say it held 1,000 kids.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there in like 1992, 1993, and of the 1,000 kids in there, maybe one or two were talking about stand-up comedy.
Right.
My high school is still around. I have to assume still holds about 1,000 people.
Right.
So it's a good control, apples to apples.
Yeah.
Guarantee you, every day, on a regular day, 10 to 20 people of the 1,000 are talking about stand-up comedy.
Right.
But on the day or the Monday after, a Chris Rock special comes out, or a Tom Segura special, or the new Chappelle.
Yeah.
Guarantee you, 50 to 150, maybe 200 of those 1,000 people at some point are talking about stand-up comedy. And that's never happened before.
Yeah.